Today we are going to plan and fly a GPS approach to the Sanderson Field Airport. At the end of this tutorial you should know how to read and interpret a GPS approach map, how to use the GPS to fly the route, set up the approach and land, how to fly a missed approach, understand the GPS system and the expanded RNav or area navigation system. The standard GPS 500 in FSX is not equipped to do vertical navigation, so we will have to do that manually. RNav approaches with vertical navigation can be divided into the less accurate VNav LNav system, which has a similar accuracy to a 60-year-old Cat 1 ILS system. LPV or Localizer Performance Vertical Navigation is a much more accurate system but needs a sophisticated augmented GPS system plus approved autopilots and aircraft systems only found in sophisticated aircraft, but accuracies of up to 2 meters can be achieved. RNav is the future and one day will make ILS and VOR navigation obsolete. We have filed a flight plan in the Mooney Bravo to fly from Boeing Field to Sanderson Field Airport, and we have just taken off. We are in high cruise mode at 4,000 feet on a heading of around 250. Let's have a look at the GPS approach chart that we're going to use. We're going to do a GPS approach to runway 23. Top left, our approach course is a heading of 229. The box next to that shows the type of lighting and the airport elevation. Next we have the radio frequencies that we may need to use. Plan view. The diagram top left gives us the minimum sector altitude. We can see on the ultra simple GPS approach that our intermediate approach fix is OIRED and our final approach fix is PORSI, and they are virtually in a straight line with the runway. On the profile view, at OIRED we need to be at 3,000 feet. We then have 5 nautical miles to PORSI and we need to get down to 2,000 feet. The runway is then 5 nautical miles straight ahead. The minima section, we are flying a Cat A aircraft, so our minima are 860 feet. That is to say we cannot descend below 860 feet MSL without seeing the runway. Forward visibility needs to be 1 nautical mile. Our missed approach is to fly the runway heading to 1,000 feet, then head left for a hold at the Carrow waypoint at 3,000 feet. Circling. If we see the runway but are too high, we can circle the airport at 860 feet and try again. It can be dangerous and some companies forbid their pilots from doing this. Here is a slightly more complicated GPS approach chart of another airport. GPS approach charts are very often T-shaped like this one, with 2 or more intermediate fixes for the various terminal areas that you may end up in depending on your approach. Note that GPS fixes are usually flyby, which means that the GPS can cut the corner and make a smooth transition to the final heading. A fix with a circle around it means you have to fly over the fix. A fly-over fix. Most MAP missed approach fixes are fly-over fixes. Here we are in the Mooney Bravo and you can see that our flight plan has been entered as a direct course to KSHN Airport. We have the map view in a course up mode, but we can switch it to a north up mode if we want to. Let's just let the autopilot get us on course by pushing the nav button. We could turn left manually to intercept the course if we wanted to. You can see that the autopilot is getting us on course and will intercept the magenta line and fly the heading for us. We can use the range button to zoom in and out and the clear button to remove distractions so that we can get a good picture of our course. We can see that we are nicely on course now, and we need to select our approach by pressing the procedures button. We want to select the GPS approach to runway 23 via the intermediate approach fix OIRED. We're going to load the approach into our GPS. You can see the approach fixes in our flight plan and outlined in the map view. You can see that at the moment the GPS will fly us to OIRED and then fly a hold pattern. What we need to do now is activate vectors to final so that we will fly on to the final approach fix called Porsche. The localizer has now switched to approach mode from terminal mode. There are 3 modes for the localizer: further than 30 nautical miles away from the fix, en route mode, full deviation of the cursor represents 5 nautical miles, between 30 nautical miles and 2 nautical miles away from the fix, terminal mode, full deviation of the cursor represents 1 nautical mile, and approach mode, which is less than 2 nautical miles away, or if you activate the approach, full deviation is 0.3 nautical miles or about 1800 feet. You can see that we are coming up to Porsche and that this leg is active in the flight plan. Porsche is our FAF or final approach fix, and we need to be at 2000 feet and slow the aircraft down to low cruise speed of 120 knots. The FSX GPS has an annoying bug where the ETE gets to 0 1 minute before you arrive at the fix. In real life, that would count down the seconds to arrival. You can see that as we arrive at Porsche, our speed is 120 knots and altitude is 2000 feet. Here we are coming into land. We have the runway in sight, but the GPS has not lined us up nicely with the runway. The GPS 500 in FSX is a non-precision approach for good reason, so I am going to have to get across to the runway and land manually. Once we have landed, I'm going to go back to Porsche, make the weather really bad, and show you how the GPS can fly a missed approach. So here we are in worse weather approaching the runway. We're nearly down at 820 feet, our minimum, and there's no runway in sight, and a missed approach is looking pretty likely. So here we are still at 820 feet. We do not have 1 nautical mile forward visibility. I catch a glimpse of the runway lights, but I'm too high to land. So what I'm going to do is clean up the aircraft by adding climb power, set the altitude to 3,000 feet, retract the flaps, and let the GPS fly me to the Carrow hold, where I will have time to reassess and decide what to do. We will fly the runway heading to 1,000 feet, do a 180 turn and head back to Carrow hold. The GPS and autopilot will do all of that for me. From there I can divert to another airport or have another go at landing, depending on the circumstances. I'm going to speed up this video and show you how the GPS flies me back to Carrow and starts flying the hold. Once in the hold, I will show you how to reactivate and fly the approach to the runway again. You can see how the flight plan on the GPS is telling me that it's going to fly me to Carrow. I'm going to speed this video up so that we can watch the GPS as it flies us automatically to Carrow and automatically starts flying the hold at 3,000 feet. It will keep flying the hold until I intervene and tell it to do something else. Here we are flying the hold. Apparently visibility has improved, so I am going to go back into procedures and again activate the approach and fly Oired and Porcy again. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. RNav navigation is making huge strides and has many advantages over older radio navigation. It is the future, and perhaps I will do a tutorial on RNav navigation, where it is at and where it's going. I hope all of this new technology finds its way into FSX someday. Anyway, goodbye and thanks for watching.